Okay, Priya, picture this. You need a really specific kind of lawyer, or maybe a pediatrician for a new city. Who do you call?
Oh, I'd probably hit up my go-to WhatsApp group, or maybe a few close friends who are super connected. Why? What's your move?
See, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We all know a Ritwik, right? The guy who knows literally everyone, can get you anything, always has a name. Amazing network.
And then there's Ananya, who's read every book, mastered a new skill, can debate anything with absolute precision. She's deep, like really deep.
Right, both are thriving. But what if I told you both are quietly paying a price, and that invoice arrives most expensively in the one decision you only get to make once, like choosing a life partner?
Ooh, that's a spicy take. So are you saying it's bad to be a Ritwik or an Ananya? Because I feel like I'm a bit of both sometimes.
Not bad at all, but it's about balance. Let's concede. A book will crush a conversation if you need to understand, say, a Hindu undivided family's finances. It's someone's best thinking, edited and refined.
Yeah, you're not getting that from a quick chat. But hold on, the article says the gap isn't depth, it's upstream and downstream from the book. What does that mean?
Exactly. Upstream, a book is an answer, but you have to arrive holding the question. And who helps you form those questions? People, your parents, teachers, friends.
Oh, so if your circle's too narrow, you're only asking questions within that tiny box. You don't even know what you don't know.
Spot on. And downstream? Books are published conclusions. But what about the arrangement that quietly stopped working in year 4? Nobody writes a book about that. That's 11 minutes across a table over coffee when someone tells you what they got wrong.
Oh, that's so true. And the frequency question, too. Is this a problem, or is this just how people are? That's not in a book. That's from hearing other people's stories.
Right? Now, for our connector, Ritwik, the danger is breadth without depth. You end up holding the consensus of your circle and experiencing it as your own judgment. It feels like conviction, but it's just arithmetic.
And if all those 400 contacts are from the same college, industry, city, that's not 400 perspectives. It's one perspective held 400 times. An echo with better attendance, as the article puts it.
Precisely. But here's the reframing. It's not about temperament. Introversion isn't a flaw. It's about where you get your energy. But breadth and depth, those are a budget.
A budget? You mean like how you spend your time on connections and learning? I have never thought of it that way.
Yeah, most of us said it years ago and never revisit it. Ananya might have 4 friends, which isn't the problem. The problem is if all 4 are from the same industry, same life stage. That's concentration risk, like with money.
So it's not about having too few people, it's too little variance. That's brilliant. You can fix that without becoming a whole new person.
Exactly. And this is huge for marriage. You don't get to practice choosing a life partner. You do it once, and the feedback arrives years later, by which point, it's your life.
So you borrow other people's repetitions. A wider circle means borrowed practice. Someone who's seen half a dozen marriages up close, the ordinary weekdays, has a working model, not just an anecdote.
And for calibration, he goes quiet for 2 days after a disagreement. Is that a problem, or is that just a person? 10 married people will tell you both versions exist and which one turned out to be survivable.
It helps you see where your own preferences came from, too. If you've only seen one type of marriage, you'll mistake that for the definition. A wider sample shows you a much longer menu.
Crucially, it gives you instruments to read a person. Character shows up in direction, not manners. Who are they willing to be inconvenienced by? When they're irritated, does it travel up or down?
You can't see that in a curated first meeting, right? You need them in a room with other people to see how they truly behave, not just how they perform.
Absolutely. And the counsel circle, those 3 or 4 people who know you well enough to say, this doesn't sound like you. Their judgment isn't better, but their vantage point is.
Which leads to the inverse. If a partner works to thin that circle, that's a red flag. It might not be a demand, but a quiet preference to keep you isolated.
Count the number. Don't argue with the reasons. It's so subtle but so important. So, for our optimizers out there, arrive with one live question, not to network, but to research.
Yes, and 2 conversations a month selected for distance. Different field, different decade. If it was comfortable, you probably chose someone too much like yourself.
Ask about process, not conclusions. What did you get wrong, not what did you do? And reactivate old contacts. They've moved on. They hold new information.
For our connectors, protect blocks of time to build depth. And once a month, form your view before you pull your circle. See how much of your thinking is actually yours.
And prune for reciprocity. Some people in a wide circle are an audience, not support. An audience won't tell you, this doesn't sound like you.
So it's not about being one or the other permanently. It's about seasons. A deep season, then a wide season to find out what you got wrong.
Exactly. For a decision as big as who you marry, reading gives you excellent answers, but people give you the questions you'd never have thought to ask, and those questions are worth considerably more.
Wow. So our challenge this week? Open your contacts. Find someone you haven't spoken to in over a year, whose life looks least like yours, and ask them one question about a decision they made.
Not for advice, but for the part they would never have written down. Go forth, connect, optimize, and find your balance.